Pop gave me some advice last week. I closed my eyes and I picked.
Oh.
I give a big shout out to him. He said, close your eyes and pick, son. There you go. There you
And
go.
he gave you great advice, son.
Damn by that this week too, bro.
Welcome to the First 40 with the Goon Squad. It is I, Puma, along with Black Thor and Ice Water. This is week 7 of the NFL. We're going to give you an eye test of that, as well as college football, the World Series 3-2. The Dodgers are on the verge. Some boxing, some UFC last week. A monster of a fighter retired. Some NBA rumors, and I heard a rumor that some of you might not have heard is Ice Water's favorite guy. But anyway, we're going to start off with the NFL eye test. Ice, what did you see last week that stood out? Games, players, or teams that stood out?
Let's get into it. You really don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Talking about that old man. That old man has Tampa Bay looking pretty damn good. 45 for 45 on the Raiders. So, I don't know. It seems like they're coming around. And the thing is, too, he's not really they have not hit their stride yet because he's not using all of his weapons. I see the struggles with trying to hit Mike Evans and include him. But there's so many people in there, it's hard to get everybody involved. But I like the way that they're rolling. Got to give it up. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder. I said the Cardinals defeating the Seattle. You heard me. You heard me.
No, you actually froze. You actually froze.
You did freeze, bro.
All right. So anyway.
He was in the Matrix for a second there, too.
The Cardinals defeating Seattle last night in overtime was quite interesting there. I was impressed by that. And last but not least, because I'm going to jump on the other ones, but I am totally impressed with Joe Burrow. I really am. The way he fights, the way he has that team going. You have some guys trying to leave. I read a couple articles about that. But when you have a young quarterback that does not want to lose, he brings that energy, brings that fire. It's infectious. And it's something that if it doesn't happen this year in Cincinnati, it's gonna definitely help that franchise down the line because himself, T. Higgins, some other guys, they have a bright future if they continue to surround him and fill out the other bright parts of the roster. I am totally impressed. I knew about him before when he was at Ohio State. I knew him about him at LSU, but he clearly has shown me that he wants to win and he's not going to be denied.
All right, Black, give me your eye test. Games, teams, or players that stood out last week.
We'll piggyback when Ice just said about Joe Burrows, man. That young man's a gamer. I'm amazed. I know AC Green said a couple of weeks ago he wanted to be traded and he kind of backed away from it. I mean, I don't understand it because for some reason, the Bengals players act like they're a bunch of Hall of Famers. You guys haven't done nothing. When you had a quarterback different than him, I mean, he's just as good as the guy that left there. You see what he's doing with the Cowboys. So I don't understand it. Shut your mouth. Just play your game, bro. Seriously. It's not like you guys have been winning. AC Green, you're a good receiver, bro, but half the time you're not even on the field for simple reasons. Shut it up. With that being said, man, I got to really tip my hat to the Pittsburgh Steelers because that was a hell of a game yesterday. Pittsburgh Steelers and the Titans. I picked the Titans, but the Steelers got something going, bro. I wasn't ready to kind of really acknowledge them yet because, you know, some of the teams they played, but they got the running back out of the rookie running back. Their receiver core is back to where it could be. Then we got to rely on Juju Smith, and Ben is slinging it around. Their defense is doing just enough. I don't think they're that good, but they're doing just enough to keep them undefeated. And I'll say this, man. I think about a year ago, I didn't think Mike Tomlin was going to last. Here they are, what, 6-0? Yeah, I didn't think – I mean, he has revented this squad. He has done what's necessary to keep them floating, and they're looking very good, man. Very good. Tampa Bay, yeah, you gotta kind of tip your hat to them as well because they are starting to cook. They're not, they're starting to cook. That defense is really showing up. They're starting to realize what's in front of them, and I think right now Belichick, looks like, this is one move you made, Chief. You might have made at a wrong time. I didn't handle things correctly because we all kind of saw Tom Brady kind of sliding down, but more so it's kind of basically when the talent that's around him kind of caught up with him. And with that being said about Belichick, man, I'm scared for Cam Newton because he may not make it back on the field again, bro. He just may not. I said this 2 weeks ago. Cam Newton was starting to play like Cam Newton, just slinging the ball, not being accurate. People open, missing them widely. And a couple of passes he threw yesterday. I think he only threw 15 passes. 2 of them were interceptions. Now, one you say got tapped, but Edelman is not that tall. Why are you throwing so high to him? He was wide open. So he's just making some bad throws, and that's not going to last long in a Patriot uniform. And if for some reason he doesn't start to play in the Patriots uniform and don't finish the season, he's not going to be signed next year, bro. We may not see Cam Newton in another uniform. Just keep in mind, nobody wanted him from the start. Those Detroit Lions, man, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I read a story, and I might have said something. I'm not sure if it was in the story, but I think I might have said to you, Boom, where they were saying if the head coach lost this game 3 Sundays ago, he probably was going to be fired. For some reason, man, he got those Detroit is playing. They're playing. I don't understand Atlanta in a sense. We talked about this a little bit before, how Gurley scored, and he becomes the focal point that he shouldn't have scored. A touchdown's a touchdown, bro. Right. When does it come a point now you don't want to score a touchdown in the NFL? You want to run the clock. I've never heard such. Score, your defense has to do something. There's no way you should allow Detroit to come down within a minute and score on you.
Was that 75 yards in a minute?
That shouldn't happen. That should not happen in an NFL game. Any NFL defense. At least make it tough. I can see you surrendering the field goal. But the way he came down the field under a minute, and it says something when your coach is telling you, don't score too soon. We don't, huh? I mean, who's there? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback for the Lions, but you weren't playing Joe Namath. You just weren't. It's like, send your defense out there and play. But I find that to be utterly amazing that that's the way they kind of looking at it, and that's where they kind of drawing it up. And I'm not trying to make fun of them because that's, my team is not much better. But the Cowboys are a mess. That team is from top to bottom is a mess because I think the offensive line have gotten old. They're not what they used to be. I don't know who's putting on Zeke's uniform, but that's not him. That's not Zeke Elliott. That's just not the cat that I'm used to seeing because I don't know. He's playing like the worst I've ever seen him play Sunday in and Sunday. He's talking good during the week, but it's not manifesting itself. And I think their coach is a bozo. I'm just gonna say it right now. Because to me, it's when you got to prove you can coach. Even I know I talked about Tomlin last year, when they had no quarterback, nothing, the Steelers were still showing up playing, almost winning some games, and they did win some games. But quarterbacks didn't even know who they were. So if you can't take this quarterback now that you have that's a bona fide starter in the league and do something with them, it's not fair, man. It's not fair. And it's kind of, I know everybody teased the Cowboys, whatever, but if you think about where they were in the beginning of the season, what we was expecting, and how that division is wide open. And don't be surprised. I know Philly beat the Giants, but don't be surprised that Washington, the football team, takes that division. Just don't be surprised that they take it. I mean, it may sound outlandish now, but I would not be surprised.
I said the Giants last week. I think it's theirs to take because
I don't think so. But not when your quarterback's stumbling, bumbling, and fumbling, bro. You're not doing it. And I'll leave with this, man. I went to bed in this game last night. I think at the time, I was up by 10. I said, yes, another one for Russell. They're not going to win. Woke up this morning and realized that.
A good game.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got to step a little later sometimes. But I will give Tyler Murray credit, man. That cat's juking, and he's so low to the ground, it's hard to get a hit on him. And I think at some point, if they can get a defense, if they can just get a defense that can slow people down, the Cardinals going to be pretty good, bro. They're going to be very good coming ahead. They're going to be good.
Yeah, Russell throwing 3 interceptions in that game. I was on the phone with Ice at the time. I'm like, we need one more interception for Russell. One more interception, and he happened to throw it at the wrong time in overtime. So, and the defense set him up for it. They were rushing. They were blitzing. First 2 downs and third down, they pulled all those 4 linebackers back, and Russell didn't even see the linebacker coming back into coverage and just threw an interception to him. So that was kudos to them for coming out. They always played them tough, but last night they overcame that nemesis, their nemesis in their division. The Giants and Philly game, I was sitting there watching the last part of that game, and Sherrod, I believe the receiver was, who had the ball in his hand. Jones, I'm not really high on Jones, but he couldn't throw the ball anymore better than that. And the Giants had that ball game and lost 1 point at that particular point. And I know my neighbors heard me. I screamed at the TV. I literally screamed at the TV like a painful because it reminded me back in the day. And I say this about the Giants when I watched them. Remind me back in the day when me and Black Thor were little, and we used to come home from church every Sunday, turn on the Giants game, and just get disappointed week after week after week. By halftime, we were out in the backyard playing basketball, waiting for the next game. That's basically what it was.
That's it. Yeah.
Pittsburgh and Tennessee, that was a really good game. Pittsburgh was kind of really just ball control, just controlling that team. And then Tennessee just started to come back. Almost thought that Pittsburgh was going to give it up at the end. But that hit that the backup linebacker came in and hit Henry with on the goal line stance, that's got to be in highlight films for the next 50 years too, because I've never seen Henry get hit, smack, square, and just stop right in his tracks like that. That was a great hit, and that was the momentum that Pittsburgh needed to take over that game. The other game that I was watching, Kansas City and Denver. Kansas City just is doing it in different ways. They didn't do it through the air. They did it through special teams, defense, and just running the ball. And so that has to be scary when teams say, okay, we're going to take away from Mahomes, and the other parts of the ball club start taking over. And, of course, last night's game was Kyler Murray just doing his thing. I ain't going to tell everybody what Ice was calling him last night, begging the Seattle Seahawks defense to go grab him. But it wasn't anything derogatory. It was just he's a little man. I call him a little man. Other people would call him little something else. But he's coming of age, and now I'm starting to see how they are growing as a football team. You beat a team that you needed to beat, a contender. And so that makes me believe in Arizona a little bit more that they're growing from this. Any other thoughts, Ice?
No, I mean, it's what it was. The only good thing about it is the picks kind of come out the way they're supposed to. That's the only good thing. It's starting to get a little tight right now. But
like Daddy said.
Yeah, things getting a little tight. But, I mean, overall, you it's one of those things that the league is getting a lot more parity in it. I was impressed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Dallas is a train wreck. So, I mean, that's what that is. My thing is just the heart. That's the point of it. They're showing no heart whatsoever.
It seems like they're giving up.
Yeah, when you put on a uniform and you play in the NFL, you at least go to work and you try to do the best you can. And there's no heart there. And with that being said, that third string quarterback they put in had no chance. He had no chance. If the offensive line would not block for Dalton, there's no way in hell they were going to block for this guy who was a rookie from James Madison. So I think, like I said, people don't like Jerry Jones, and I understand why. But if I was Jerry Jones, I would start to just put it out there. If you don't want to play, I'm going to start finding people. I'm going to find somebody that wants to play. I'm going to find somebody at least going to suit up, is going to block, is going to do something, even if they have a lot of penalties. Somebody's going to give effort. If you're going to lose the rest of the damn games of the year, you might as well have people out there that want to play. Somebody wants that check. I know you got a lot of millionaires out there and you got to work some things out, but I'd rather have somebody out there giving some effort trying to play instead of watching the debacle. You don't even give a damn. You're not even trying. And you can blame it on the coach. I get that. I mean, McCarthy, I said that. I'm kind of wondering why you're doing what you're doing. But as a player, I mean, a guy that has that has some guys that have accolades and guys that know what it's like to be in the league, you can take it upon yourself. Because there was a time when the Dallas Cowboys didn't need a damn coach. When Barry Switzer came in, they just on autopilot. And they won the damn Super Bowl just because I could have coached them. But then again, there's just a different change in the mentality. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I think it's a wrap. I said it earlier. They don't have that oomph. They put that helmet on, that star, and they think they're just automatic, that they're just going to win. And that's not how it is, So whatever they do, we'll see. Like I said, I'll be watching from afar going like, okay, whatever. But, yeah, they know they're not playing with heart at all. They're not playing like they even care.
It sounds like, Black, that the coach McCarthy is on a hot seat right now already.
It's hard to believe he's not, bro. It's kind of hard to believe. I would probably never say this often, but there's a part of me feels sorry for Jerry Jones because as an owner, he's way too involved with the team. I'll say that.
You feel sorry for Jerry Jones?
I'm gonna say this, and here's why. Here's a man that has basically opened up his wallet to do what he can to have a team to go out there, like I said, play with heart, play with determination. A lot of these guys have good guaranteed contracts. And I spoke about Elliott earlier, and they're not even showing up, bro. They're not even showing up. And I mean, he's right. I would yank them off the field. I think it was last week. Elliott fumbled twice. He would have not seen the field again that game. Embarrassing. He would have not went back out of the Al Davis, out of call down to the sideline. He is not to go back on the field again. And you have to start embarrassing these players because these guys have very good contracts and they're not showing up. They're not. It's like they're walking around like, I got mine, I don't care anymore. Even out of respect for the uniform of the Dallas Cowboys, you got to go out there and do something. So that's why I kind of feel sorry for him. You have to get this coach out of there, maybe sooner than later. I don't know who they can put in it now, but there's a disconnect between him and the team, whether you want to believe it or not. This team does not respect him. They don't admire him, and they're not playing for him. So what are you going to do? They're just whatever's happened in the past 6 weeks. We know we talked about last week, a couple of players were saying they don't make adjustments, whatever. They are not playing for him. They're just not. And we see him, to me, McCarthy, what he did in Green Bay. He has no clue what he's doing. Here's a guy yesterday when the big focus in his press conference was talking about Andy Dalton. He don't know what's going to happen with his injury. Are you kidding me? Your team just went out there and basically scrambled an egg. And that's what you want to focus on. The hit on Andy Dalton? Please. If that was Parcells, he'd been throwing a chirp against the wall in the press conference. Danny Green cut loose in the press conference. You got to be kidding me. You're going to stand there and make the big issue of him getting hit. So, yes, you have to make a change, man. You have to kind of basically get him out of it. I don't know what you're paying him, but maybe talk to his people, see if you can rip the contract up, pay him half, and you got to let him go because that's just a bad move. And we talked about it earlier. Look what the Cardinals did after 1 year. You can't wait 1 year with McCarthy. It's a bad move. It's a bad move. The team is not responding to him. They're just not. It's not that Dak is not out there. They're just not responding to him. They've given up on him totally. They need to be held accountable. But at the same time, they're not going to play for him. They're just not. Whatever he's doing is not working. So, yeah, you got to make a change. I don't know if Jerry's thinking in terms of that, but, yeah, you got to get him out of there, bro. I mean, just look what Atlanta has done, even though they lost yesterday, by getting rid of head coach when he needed to. What it's done to the team. Even, look at the Texans, another team that lost, but they're playing inspired. Cowboys aren't playing inspired. These are coaches that it comes for a while. You're there. They just aren't motivated by you for whatever reason. They're not hearing you. They're throwing up the hand, and they're doing what they want to do. For that reason, yeah, he's got to go.
Well, one of the things that I was reading earlier was that the response when Andy Dalton went down, usually when an opposing team goes after your quarterback, the offensive linemen and the offensive players go after the person who went after the quarterback, and you got no response from the Dallas Cowboys. So that tells you that's another telltale sign that maybe the team is giving up. Le'Veon Bell looked good with Kansas City yesterday. You could see glimpses of it. He looked like the old Le'Veon Bell, running, hesitating, herking and jerking through his way and getting yards. He looked really, really good. OBJ is out for the Cleveland Browns. Got to give kudos to Baker Mayfield, who threw a touchdown pass to beat Cincinnati. How is that going to affect the Cleveland Browns? Ice.
Well, actually, and it's not to really be funny or you don't want anybody to get injured, actually might help them even more because now it's going to force Baker Mayfield to really pass the ball to who's open and not worry about somebody calling for the ball. You notice Landry afterwards was catching the ball. They start finding there's a rookie tight end they have, a couple other guys there too. And also that allows you to put Hunt in the mix from catching the ball. So now instead of 5 people calling for the ball and one guy that is a superstar not getting the ball and maybe having a different type of attitude, you have what you have, and you have to just go out there and hit the guys that are open or moving around. And he was able to move the ball around a lot. And I think for some reason of it, and this may not be on OBJ totally, but it seems as if Baker Mayfield feels some kind of way like he owes OBJ, the right to throw him the ball at certain times. Like because he's a superstar, I have to throw it to him or it's going to be a problem.
Contract.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but as a quarterback, this is not the radio business. You got to play the record 9 times an hour so you get the money. You got to throw the damn football and pass to who's open and make plays. And if he happens to be open, he can be mad at you. But if you continue to progress during the season, then that's because wins, then he's going to be okay. But it's something about that relationship, and even it might be with Landry a little bit, that maybe because what they said last year, that he seems like sometimes Baker Mayfield just kind of stuck. Like, I know he's not open. There's 3 guys on him, but I got to throw him the ball. I just have to because he doesn't want to talk about him because they're like, we know who we are. We're already proven. What about you, little dude? Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Black, I started to see glimpses of the old Odell Beckham on the sidelines, the antics last week, and then all of a sudden he goes down early in last week's game. What do you think? Does Cleveland move on and do better, or will this really impact them in a negative way?
I think they do better, bro. I think they do. I think the chemistry was never there with OBJ. I think he came. I never to this day understood why the general manager's going. I think they traded for him. Why they even traded for Odell Beckham? It just made no sense bringing him in with a quarterback that could not at that time feature him and get him and kind of flow with Odell Beckham. So it made no sense to bring him. Yeah, he's talented, but that wasn't his place for him. And I'm surprised it took this long for him to start being so, like you said last week. So yeah, I think it will be better. I think he was kind of. I think Baker Mayfield. I'm not saying this elevates him as a quarterback, but I think he did have in the back of his mind and probably in the front of his mind, I got to get this guy the ball. And I'm not sure if they was telling him that, but I think he was thinking that. And you can't go back to, you got to go back into your reads and what the players give you, you got to go with. And I think that kind of put him in a bad situation the majority of the time. And I think as a team, they'll elevate themselves offensively, just mentally that he's not around. Because sometimes a diva like that, man, can affect the rest of the team because they're looking at him acting a certain way. They may not say anything, but it kind of basically breaks the morale down a little bit. So now that he's going to be out there for a little while, yeah. I think I saw something, man, where I think LSU told him not to come near them as they're playing. Yeah. I thought I saw that. I wasn't sure. But they said they don't even want him around. So what does that tell you when people are basically not feeling you? But in his case, man, it's kind of sad for him because you look at what he had here in New York and what he could have had here in New York, even off the field. Because if you look at Odell Beckham, when the last time you seen him really outside of promotion do anything as far as advertisement? And he could have still been knocking it down here in New York, man. And that's what sometimes these cats don't realize. You know, your image, your brand, you have to keep that in mind. And people can get tired of you being in hot tubs with other men, you know, saying some things that's suspicious about you, bro. It is what it is. Let's just say what it is, bro. We don't hide from it.
No, we don't.
No. So it's, you know, that type of stuff is going to catch up with you. Then you're not really doing it on the field. You're always acting like a little brat. It's not. So, man, he has his contract and he has this injury now. And how's he going to come back from it? But at some point, the NFL, man, is going to get tired of him and we won't be talking about him.
Yeah. I could just see him getting in a lot of trouble trying to rehab or not doing what he's supposed to do or being on social media more. Let's move on to college football. ICE, the Big Ten came out this week. There were some great games. A lot of people are saying it was a controversial win with Penn State and Indiana. I don't think so. The brothers scored. Give me your eye test on last week's games, man.
Yeah, 2 in particular, and I'm going to start with the Big Ten. Rutgers defeated Michigan State 30-27 in Lansing, and it was return of Greg Schiano to college football and particularly the Rutgers. And they've been struggling to try to find somebody to replace him once he left, did his little stint in the NFL. Then he went to Kent, Ohio State as an assistant. And he may not be a great pro football coach or anything like that, but I think he's a great fit for Rutgers because he's able to push him over. And I guess he got a lot of transfers and guys out there. But the fact that they went to Michigan State and won, they haven't won a big game like that in a while. And I know Michigan State is rebuilding, but that impressed me because that's giving a statement to he's trying to do some other things for Rutgers again. The other one would be the win of Michigan over Minnesota. I think Michigan has a quarterback now. His name is Joe Milton, kind of a big guy, runs a little bit, kind of moves the ball, and he's a playmaker. I know it's Minnesota, and they came in with roll the boat and all that other stuff, but it was like, you know what, y'all not ready yet, not this year. So impressed by Michigan on that win. We'll see what happens down the line.
All right, Black, eye test on college football.
This is a team that, for some reason, I kind of pay attention to. They're never really around the top 8, the top 4, but they have a couple of games throughout the year that you just go, whoa. Iowa State, bro. They always kind of show up and just give you something to kind of pay attention to in the battle they have. Even though they lost, man, I just kind of like paying attention to them. I was a little surprised that Penn State, didn't pull that through. Some of the top teams are like top 4 teams or 5 teams. I didn't pay attention this week, man, because I kind of believe where they're going to be when it's all said and done at the most part. Keep an eye on Ohio State, because somehow Ohio State's going to get it to be number 3 or number 4. I just got a funny feeling somewhere. They're going to get they're going to get in the top 3 or 4 at some point and be there. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I'll just leave with Iowa State, man. Them and Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State has a chance to kind of move up a little bit, but they're not ready to really play with the big dogs. But that game to me was really impressive.
Yeah, I want to send out kudos to the University of Nevada for inducting Colin Kaepernick into their Hall of Fame last week. But let's give a rundown of the top 20, or I kind of narrowed down to the top 10. I may have some other teams I want to talk about that's in that top 25. Clemson still number 1. They won last week. Also Alabama number 2. Ohio State number 3, knocking Notre Dame down to number 4. So those Big Ten debuts last week is starting to really kind of focus this this playoff thing. Notre Dame has no business in the playoffs in the top 10. So as you see teams emerging out of the Big Ten, I can see Notre Dame getting knocked out of that playoff picture. Wisconsin really showed out last week, along with Northwestern. Northwestern really had a big offensive game last week that really impressed me. And you have Georgia number 5, Oklahoma State number 6. Cincinnati had a good game last week. They are number 7. Texas A&M, they are number 8, followed by Wisconsin and Florida. BYU moves up to number 11. I keep telling people about BYU. They have a Heisman candidate by the name of Wilson as quarterback. He's pretty slick. He's pretty slick. But they have a weak schedule, so I'm surprised that they are putting him up in the near the top 10. But okay, you have University of Miami. I don't see it as number 12, but they have them as number 12. They have the University of Michigan at number 13, followed by Oregon, North Carolina, who beat North Carolina State last week, Kansas State, who hammered Kansas, Indiana, who jumped up 28 spots after beating Penn State at 17 over Penn State, who was 18, Marshall, and Coastal Carolina, who jumped up 5 spots to get into the top 20. So that should be interesting. It should be interesting down the stretch, Ice, where these teams end up compared to where they are right now.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be one of those things that you say to yourself, who's going to make it through? And what's interesting, particularly about the Big Ten, because they're playing 9 straight weeks of football, right? So they're playing that way, and so there's no room for error at all. So you lose, you're basically pretty much done. But it's going to be exciting. I'm glad the Big Ten is playing, because I know even though the SEC and the other ACC teams and particularly their supporters in the media types, I've heard them even saying that, well, if the Big Ten doesn't only play so many games, they shouldn't be allowed in the playoffs. You know what that says to me? You're scared. You're scared. Because it doesn't matter how many. If Alabama played 5 games and they're the best team, let them play. But they want to take seems to me that they want to get a championship and do it the easy way. If you're a good team, play the best. Play the best. So I hope it works out that way, because they clearly, some supporters are not really wanting the Big Ten around and some other teams. The other thing is interesting too is Alabama lost one of their, was it Weddle? Watt may be gone for the season.
Yeah, Waddle. Yeah,
top wide receivers, and that's gonna be a big thing for that Crimson Tide. Roll Tide.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big loss. Black. Any other things about college football that you saw last week that you want to interject here? Oh, Black is out. Black is out. All right. Some games I'm looking forward to seeing next week is Michigan State, of course. Purdue, who had a win this week, plays Illinois. I want to see Illinois played a little tough in the first half, but really kind of got smacked in the second half. Houston to UCF. There's a game against Indiana and Rutgers. Can Indiana recover after Rutgers, after beating, not recover, but don't fly too high, like Icarus in the Greek mythology stories. Not fly too high off this win against Penn State and handle Rutgers, who really handled Michigan State pretty easily in their game. Northwestern and Iowa, another Big Ten team game that I want to see. Also, I want to keep my eyes on Boise State against Arizona, and Florida against Missouri. Florida didn't play last week, but they get Missouri this week. And can Penn State recover and play Ohio State after Ohio State really smacked Nebraska? Black, you blinked out for a bit before we went out. Any other thoughts about this week's coming games or last week?
Well, I'll go through what you just ended with. Sorry about that, Ham. I think my Wi-Fi was going crazy for a second. Penn State, if they're playing Ohio State, I want to focus on that, man, because that's their season to me. You got to knock Ohio State out because I believe, for the most part, if you don't, they want Ohio State in there. I'm not saying that's a bad choice, but if you're really about your business, take them down, Penn State. Here's your opportunity. Take them down, make some noise, and force them to put you up higher.
All right. Ice, what games are you looking forward to?
Even though it may not matter, I do want to see Mississippi State versus Alabama.
Yeah.
I never know how, they're going to redeem themselves, even though they won pretty easily. But Mississippi State, I think they might be able to at least score a few points against Alabama. The other thing with other team game I'd like to see is Florida, how strong Florida is going to play this week. They play Missouri. Missouri is a team that can sneak up on you a little bit.
Yeah,
I'd like to see how they rebound and where it goes with that. But but the main game I will reiterate what you guys mentioned. Well, the game I really want to watch, I'm gonna watch is besides Ohio State, Penn State is Rutgers and Indiana. I want to see that. Indiana got by that way, and I want to see if Schiano's going to be able to get Rutgers up for another large game to see if they can win.
What was most impressive about that Indiana win is that you knew that they already discussed if it is a game-winning decision to go for two, we're going for two. It was no hesitation. Indiana, they went into overtime. They scored. Penn State scored first. Then Indiana scored, and there was no hesitation. They didn't look at the kicker, nothing. They went for two. And I admire teams that say, you know what, no matter what, we get in this situation, we're going for two, and we'll live with the results. I was really impressed by Indiana with that. World Series time, Ice. And this is turning out to be a better series than I thought it would be, with the Los Angeles Dodgers leading 3-2. I thought they gave away the other game, and you could see it on the Dodgers managers, that is like, what do we have to do to win kind of thing. But Kershaw is really saving and salvaging his career, at least in the playoffs and in the World Series, with 2 good outings. I think if the Dodgers pull this off, Mookie Betts is MVP all day long, MVP of the World Series and MVP of the playoffs. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers, it appears that they finally really want to win this time thing, at least due to their performance. And I called Tampa Bay early on. I like the way that they played. They took down some very impressive opponents prior to this. But, they were right there. They got a gift in Game 4 where they, the ball goes one way and they are right there making hits. And then last night they gave one back where you had, I don't know how the hell that went. You had them sending a guy, or he went on his own trying to steal home. I was like, damn, is Jackie Robinson playing? I didn't see. I was like, and you could tell when he left.
I was really surprised.
Yeah, but when he left, he didn't have a great jump. And anybody that ever played baseball, you play on third base, coming out that third base line, down the line, you have to look. And if you're going to see the pitcher, you have to time his throw. And when he throws the ball, by the time he throws the ball to home plate, you got to be there. You got to be there. I'm not sure the guy who did it had the speed. And not only that, when he slid, this is the worst thing. It was like watching the Bad News Bears in 3D. Yeah. And he slid on his face.
Yeah.
And his face was all like this, and the catcher was just like watching, like, what the hell is this? He just waited on him.
Come on.
Yeah, he just waited on him. The guy's face is all in there. Then he moved his hand forward. Then he busted his lip. I think he bit his lip. A lot of stuff was going on. I was like, how the hell you think you gonna make it when you sliding with your face? I thought that was one they gave back. But the Dodgers played well. Plus, too, for some reason or another, one of their aces, Glasnow, who pitched last night, has been struggling. He's struggling the first time he played against faced Kershaw, and he struggled last night. I think he's a good pitcher, but I don't know if the lights were too big for him. And I think their manager also, he kind of waited a little bit too long. You have to take advantage of these situations. If he's not showing you after a couple innings that he's doing it, because, I mean, he gave up, a home run in the first inning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could have to tell that he kind of, righted the ship and got kind of calmed down, but it's tough, and you can't afford to make mistakes like that, particularly against a team like the Dodgers.
You mentioned to me something the other night that maybe this is too big for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Yeah, well, certain players, okay? I mean, you look at it and you say, yeah, they're ready. Okay, you beat the Yankees, right? Then you beat Houston, big time. And then you are close to beating the Dodgers. But it's different, I think, when you play in the championship, the league championship series, the World Series, where everybody's watching you. And they've been doing it all year long, but then at this point, you like, are they second guessing themselves? And I think that might be part of it. And that's something you can't teach. Only experience will get you through unless you have a veteran manager. I think a lot of times when you saw guys like Joe Madden, right, that even, Joe Madden comes in, takes these young guys up under his wing, calms them down a little bit, and they're ready to go. When you don't have that, you have to have some leadership. And even some of their top guys for Tampa Bay that they just traded for, one of the hottest guys on the batting on their team batting, he was a little green.
Yeah.
But you just need to have somebody that can say, hey, that's going on. You thought it would be the pitcher. They have an older pitcher, Charlie and Milton. And Milton would kind of share some things with them as well, but I'm not sure. And I think too, because you're playing a team that's loaded like the Dodgers are with talent, and they really are on top of the game this time, you cannot afford to make many mistakes, because if you do, they're ready. They want this real bad. You can tell. The Dodgers, that is.
Well, game 6 should be interesting tomorrow night, whether the Dodgers could bring it home or the Rays can extend this. It should be an interesting night. I'm thoroughly enjoying this World Series. Let's go to UFC and MMA. And Khabib fought Saturday, and he's 29-0, and he decides after the fight that this is it. He didn't want to enter the ring again without his dad, who died not too long ago. And one of the things that I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was asking me, do I think he's one of the best ever? I would have to say that. This is a beast, man. This is the definition of a beast. After the fight, he explained that he wanted to do an arm bar on the guy and make him submit, but he remembered the guy said, I am not going to submit because I know he's going to put the arm bar. So he said he did not want his family to see him in that much pain. So he said he just choked him out and put him to sleep. And that's a beast right there. That's a beast. That's a beast. Your thought about Khabib. I always thought, Ice, that nobody wanted to fight this guy because he is a beast. And I couldn't see anybody. I remember you talking about him going up in weight and things of that sort. But I didn't see him going up in weight and things of that sort. People had to come to him. And he wasn't relinquishing that title. But what are your thoughts about him?
No, I think he's when you go undefeated in that division and you do what you do, I think you have to give him credit, but then there's always going to be other people that decide who they think the best is of all time. And my only thing with him, I think that he fought who he had to fight, right? But there's only a couple fights that you go, yeah, I remember that. Of course, we remember the Conor McGregor fight, but I think that they kind of did him an injustice for him to get some bigger fights. Because you compare him to like a John Jones, you go, John Jones fought this guy, fought that guy. I'm not sure the talent was there for him. Again, like I said, I know it's not possible because he's moving on, and I know he probably won't be that big, but there's a fight at 170 I would love to see. I would love to see him fight at 170. But hey, he did his time. He's a family guy. He promised his mom that he will retire after this fight because he didn't want to fight anymore with his dad, so he had one more fight. And he did it with class. He's a champion. He took his gloves off after he won.
Put him in the center of the ring.
Put him in the center of the ring and walked out. That's what we'll do. And that's what you do for your family. And that's how you are. Hey, more power to him. And, live well. Live well.
I hope he coaches or does something that's in the game that to give somebody some of the gifts that he get or share some of the gifts that he had as a fighter. I really do. I really loved watching him fight, the ferociousness and just that beast mode in that ring that you don't see too often. So kudos to him and wish him a great retirement. Let's go to some NBA rumors. I have one, Black. I don't know if you heard this one, but you want me to tell it first or you want to go on some NBA rumors that you've heard?
I don't have any rumors, bro, in NBA.
Okay. Brace yourself, Ice. Brace yourself, Black. Here's a rumor that I heard. There are two teams going after Jeremy Lin. The Brooklyn Nets and the Golden State Warriors. Go. I don't care who takes it. Go. Ice, Black. You can see the faces. I got to put it on different camera angle. The faces here.
Well,
as a backup point guard, that's what they're looking for, backup point guards.
I find it hard to believe that Golden State is being part of this. I just do, bro. I can't. It just doesn't fit their MO. Brooklyn, at this point now, whatever Brooklyn does wouldn't surprise me. I would have to think anyone that's thinking about taking Jeremy Lee and realistically is trying to pull a certain niche audience in. Let's face it, when he came out, man, the Asian community locked itself into the NBA. So to me, it may sound, silly to say, if any team now that takes a chance with him, I believe the NBA is speaking to that team and wants him back in the league. I believe they kind of endorse him for that reason alone. I mean, they're doing what they can to try to kind of settle some things that happened in last year. And I said, last week, I don't think the general manager from the Rockets being let go was an owner decision. I think somewhere in the line, the NBA stepped in and said, you know what, let's get rid of this guy. I'm sure they're working trying to patch things up with China. I know he's Asian, but yeah, they want that international flair. Who else you going to get now other than Asian, Jeremy Lin, bring him back in and try to start that back over again. So I can't believe Golden State is looking at his talent and thinking they could use him. But I could believe the NBA is marketing him or trying to sell on the teams. Like, you know what? Let's give this guy a shot.
Ice, I know you're not a big fan, but I read that today that this guy, there are two teams that are looking to sign him, and it's the Golden State Warriors and the Brooklyn Nets.
Well, it's not. I'm not a big fan, but it's the whole media thing of trying to make somebody greater than what they are. When he had that little stretch run, everybody's talking about he's a superstar in the making. It's not the case. He's a good player. He did well overseas recently, and him coming back, if he follows and plays his role, I mean, he's capable of playing in the league. We know that. Okay, I'm not saying he's not capable, but he can play his role as a backup point guard. And there's a lot of guys that have played. Scott Brooks, anyway. I'm just going, but certain guys they play. They're journeymen. They're role players. Doesn't mean you don't belong in the league. You just mean you're not a top tier guy. So if he comes in and plays his role, he probably can get signed by even Golden State. He's a good dude. They like him, as you mentioned. They get up, their international flavor and connect. And the audience could work that way. Also with Brooklyn, you think about the situation in New York. It's a multicultural melting pot with a bunch of people that would love to do. I'd love to have him up there. When they had him in New York, so they were losing their minds. So I mean, if that's what they want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. He gets signed, and It's okay. Plus, two, he kind of was whining and saying he wanted to get back in too. So anyway, he was pleading. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be back on my brother's couch. Anyway,
I'm gonna stay with you with this one, Ice. Minnesota got the first pick. Have no idea who they're gonna pick, and Golden State is zeroing in on who they want to pick. What are your thoughts about Minnesota and who should they pick?
I don't know. Everybody's talking about that. What is I'm trying to think. The youngest ball guy, and he can play. But and we talked about this before. You and I off the cuff. With these young guards, how much of a difference are they gonna really make? And I know Ball has really done some things, but this level of competition goes up. If I'm Minnesota, and I said this before, if you expect him to come in and work with D'Angelo Russell like he's dominant because he's dominating people in Lithuania, I don't know about that one. If I were them, I would go big, and I know Black Throat like, he'll roll his eyes about this one. But I would pair him. I would pick up Wiseman, the big fella from Memphis, and have him play power forward and let Big Cat play center and then work it that way. But they're probably going to choose a guard. But if they don't, if Minnesota has opportunity, then I would choose Wiseman. And they're probably, well, why are you saying Wiseman? Wiseman is 7 foot. He has a lot of flexibility. He can play the 4. He can play the 5. He's young. He's hungry, and he's very skillful. And if I was Golden State, you can say guards all day. You need that. That's the one thing they need. Draymond Green is going to be Draymond Green. You always throw these extra little guys in the center, and they come up, do well. But when you think about it, you have a young guy that you can teach the way to win at Golden State early. It's somebody that you can kind of put your franchise, you can build up on, you can ride him for the next 5-6 years once he comes of age. That's just me. I know they run up and gun. They didn't want to keep D'Angelo Russell because they didn't have enough guards. But this Wiseman dude, man, he's everything. And he's size, he can run, he plays every way, and he can play defense too. That's something I think if I were them, and I think they're playing possum because they're saying they're acting as if Golden State as if they don't want anything to do with him. But when that number 2 pick, if they really know what the hell they're doing, and minus any injuries, that should be the pick, the selection, I think, that too.
Also, with rumors, I'm going to let you answer that one, Black, with the pick, who should Minnesota or Golden State pick? Golden State are preparing themselves to try to make a shot at the Greek Freak, Antetokounmpo. And, hey, I said it a couple of weeks ago. Why not? KD did it. Why can't he do it?
He's no KD, bro. That's for sure. He's no KD. I'll say this, man.
What? Oh, my goodness.
He's no KD, bro. No KD. He's I don't think that's going to work in Golden State, but, I will say this, though. Draymond Green can punk him. He can definitely punk him. So, yeah, bring him on. Bring him on. Minnesota, to me, is in a tough situation. Unless they're bluffing, I hate to hear they don't know what they want to take. I hate to hear that. Now, I'm not going to say this is a good pick for them, but Minnesota needs some flash, bro. They need some flash, meaning that you can't take someone that no one's going to talk about after being the first pick. And that might just have to be Melo. Even though I'm not sold on him, you need somebody to come into that organization, that franchise, that can bring some excitement, get the younger kids paying attention to, want to see where NBA puts you on TNT and they start to follow. That franchise needs that in a bad way. So for that reason, man, I think they should take Melo. I really do. And here again, I'm not sold on him, but the hype around him has been generated. It's been following him, and that franchise needed, bro. I mean, you could take someone else and kind of build for the future, but here again, if it doesn't work in Minnesota, you're going to be forgotten about. You're going to be forgotten about. So if you're trying to really now get some attention, get some notoriety, which I think they should do, they want to get there because that franchise, for the most part, is forgotten about. It really is. No one talks about the Timberwolves. So why not kind of get yourself in a sense where you kind of stand out in the NBA a little, even if it's for a short period of time. And if he works out, just say he does. If he works out and he scores a lot and he looks good, trust me, we'll all start to pay attention to what they do. And for that reason alone, I think just to take him.
All right. I know I left you out of that last bit of the conversation, Ice, but Golden State seems to be putting themselves in a position as the only team that can offer the Greek Freak the amount of money that he may be worth.
Yeah, but see, my only thing with that is about chemistry. He's been the guy for a long time out there in Milwaukee. They've opened up the pocketbook for him. He's been told how great he is. He's a two-time MVP, right? Losing in the first round. Anyway, but with all that being said, can he play with those guys? Can he play with them, or is he just gonna say, "Let me stay where I'm at, and we'll just try to get it done that way"? I'm not saying he's an awesome player. He's a great talent. But if you just think automatically because he's a great player and has a skill set that you can play with winners, there's a lot of guys that can't make that transition. There's a lot of people that can. And chemistry is everything. You say what you want to, oh, they got the stacked team. They're going to beat everybody. Chemistry, man. You look at them damn Clippers. Chemistry is everything.
Yeah. Any rumors or things that you heard about the Clippers? Anybody?
Yeah, they're talking about, you talking about Golden State. There's a thing maybe that possible that Golden State might be trying to make a trade with Indiana to get Miles Turner, the center, Miles Turner, somebody like that. The other thing too is I heard that possibly that Blake Griffin to Portland be a possibility. Something else, the one that blows me away is Gordon Hayward to Indiana. Yeah, that's going to take a lot of things they're going to have to give up from Indiana to get that done. Also, the last one probably would be DeMar DeRozan can link to Detroit because of Dwayne Casey, used to be connected in Toronto. Then there's Orlando. And when you have nowhere else to go, there's always the Knicks.
Another thing.
It's true. I'm just saying. I'm just telling what they say. It's true. I'm just telling you the news. You don't like the news? Maybe the way I delivered it, but it's like it's the Knicks. That's what it is.
One thing that we didn't talk about is another Gundy is in the coaching spot again. Black. I'm not familiar with the Gundys. I don't know if they got naked pictures of the front office in the NBA. I don't know why they keep getting jobs, but now he's with the Pelicans. And I said this, him and the guy, Zion Williamson, and the guy he played, the guy I think Barrett played at Duke, they're going to wind up either playing with the Knicks or somebody else because Van Gundy, I don't know if he can coach this guy. I don't know if he's going to be successful with this, and this guy's going to want to trade. He's going to get become a free agent, and he's going to go somewhere, and him and Barrett are going to go somewhere, and they're going to play like the old days where they could have, played for more than 1 year that they played at Duke. But I just think, I don't know what's on the mind of the Pelicans. You should have just stayed with Gentry if you're going to make this move. But Black, your thoughts on this, man?
I want to show you something.
He's on the
Zion.
Health, huh?
Zion is working out. He's losing weight. He's repairing himself. And it's a shame that the ownership of the Pelicans decided to bring that coach to him, bro. That is just outrageous. And, a lot of people like Stan Gundy for the most part. He's a nice guy. But what has he done to earn the right to coach the Pelicans? That's all I would ask. I mean, that's all I would ask. What did he say in the interview that would make you decide to hire him? Because I'm telling you right now, a couple of those cats on those teams, they after about a month, they're going to tune out and stop playing. I give it a month. A month. Those the cat that was with the Lakers is there now. He's balling pretty good. Could you imagine him being coached up by Stan Van Gundy? He yells and screams. He basically he ran Detroit in the ground. I mean, literally, nosedive. And he gets a chance to basically revitalize the Pelicans. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But yeah, I do believe that Zion will be out of there when it's time to go. I don't think he's staying there. I think for numerous reasons. I think he's going to probably want to get to a bigger market. And he's not going to be around that coach. I mean, you have to, I'm not a big fan of Coach K, but let's be honest. You've been coached up by Coach K either for a year. You can go from Coach K to this idiot coaching. It's not going to work, bro. I have no idea what the Pelicans are doing. I have no idea what they're doing.
I could probably, I'll guess what he said in that interview. I'll do it for half. What you paying me? Ice, Van Gundy is coaching again.
I never thought I would see it. I mean, particularly not with a group like this. And it surprised me really because you had David Griffin, right, who was in Cleveland with LeBron, so he knows what's going on and making moves, trying to win championships. And I just don't know. I know they talked about they wanted a coach that has some playoff experience. Okay, he has that. Okay, he had Miami. We worked with Miami Heat. They ran him out of there eventually. Then he ended up with Orlando when he had one of the best chances to win. Of course, he made crazy mistakes trying to bring back guys that were hurt off the injury list after your team is rolling through, looking good against Kobe and those guys. So I don't know. I mean, I know why they're giving him respect. I just don't know if the game has passed him by. He's going to try to come in with hardcore defense, get guys to play. But, I mean, you talk to Dwight Howard, Shaq, everybody tell you they're just guys that have said they really didn't like him. And now you're coming in with this brand new group of young people trying to get them going. And we know now, too, that young people, they don't mind working hard, but they want to have fun playing basketball. You know, this is not the old Philadelphia 76ers with George McGinnis, you know, Bobby Jones and, you know, Billy Cunningham coming out, you know, spitting in people's faces and throwing clipboards. This is a whole different ballgame. You saw in the bubble how much fun guys were having. Even though it was hard, they played hard, but they all had fun. And now you bring in a guy that, I don't know, he just does a lot of old school things, and he's going to have to change his ways, but here we go again. So like you said, maybe Zion won't be there for long. A lot of guys probably going to be opting out because he's just such an old way of playing that's just not the new NBA. NBA is get up and down, move, have fun, kick it, throw it off the glass, and, you know, play hard for your guy, your team, and your coach. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with Mr. Van Gundy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one team didn't have fun at all. That was the Clippers. That wasn't fun in that bubble.
Should have been. Should have been.
All right, questions from the squad. Black, what's your question?
You sent this out a few days ago, man, where Steve Nash is hiring, what's the guy's name? The ex-Knicks, ex-Phoenix player?
Amari Stoudemire.
To be assistant coach on the squad. What's going on in Brooklyn, man? Realistically, you have a general manager that didn't even talk to Durant. Durant just showed up and said, "I'll sign." And then you hire Steve Nash. I mean, I'm kind of okay with that. But then you got the players saying it's going to be a coaching by committee. We're all going to coach together.
Fine bass for everybody.
What's going on with this, man?
This is your first hearing of this because I can see it on your face. Yeah, Marty Stoudemire is going to be on the coaching staff of the Brooklyn Nets. This is going to be a shit show. This is going to be a bona fide shit show. And as Don Knish would say, you can bet your last money it's going to be a stove gas, honey.
Wow.
Ice, what's your response, man?
At least they'll have good wine.
Good wine baths.
They'll have good wine. And good wine, you know, Kevin Durant said, I think that's why he might have been excited. Kevin Durant said he's starting to become a connoisseur of wine. So look at the game. They lose. Everybody get together and they, you know, glass in hand. Because we know Stoudemire knows wines. But as a coach, wow, Nash. Woo! So maybe it is going to be by committee. You guys are smart enough. You can run the team. I don't know what the hell's going on. I feel for the younger players that played last year, waiting on these guys to come along. What's it going to be like for LeVert, right? What's that going to be like for the other guys, too, that really deal with you? Other guys put hard work in. What is that going to be like? Now you coming in, everybody, you know, probably what they probably do when you were in your care package, when you first walk in the first day, you have all your stuff, all your gear and everything. And then they have several wine goblets in there, different sizes, because you're going to need wine dealing with this madness. Oh, my goodness. I am shocked I'm amazed by wow, yeah. Mm.
When I looked at this, I thought about what you just said, Ice, about the team that's been there, who's been in the trenches and playing hard and trying to stay on the court and trying to stay on this team. I can see after getting a load of some of the shenanigans that's been happening so far, and then having Kyrie Irving and KD just coming on, just taking over stuff, even though they won championships. These guys haven't played with them, building that chemistry. I don't think this is going to end well. I really don't think it's going to end well. I think there are going to be some players who are like, just get me out of here. I don't want to play with these guys. I'm not getting it. I ain't getting the ball. I ain't getting playing time anyway. Just get me out of here so I can go play with a team instead of playing with these prima donnas. But this is just going to be one bad scenario after scenario after scenario. Black, what did you think when I sent you this?
You know, to me, this general manager, I forgot the cat's name. I think it's a brother too. I think he's lost. I think he's lost, man. Because I'm not saying you have to put your coach, his squad together, his assistant coaches, but it's like he's allowing any and everything to go. It's like he's enamored with these players and he's just letting them do whatever and say whatever they want to do. And then sometimes, man, you got to sit some people down and just say, yeah, I know you've done this, but guess what? I'm the general manager. And it's to me, it's disrespectful as players to say we're going to be coaching by committee. One night, Kevin will be coaching, helping the coach. One night I'll be doing. And it's like, is that what you signed up for? And it just shows that, like you said, Kevin and Kyrie Irving, boys, whatever they want to be, they're going to come in and just take over. You already see it coming. They want to come in and take over. These are two cats that could barely stay on the court, especially, Irving. But you saw what he did to Boston.
Yeah.
They're going to want to come in and take over. And you're right. These younger cats are going to be standing there like, why are we here? And Nash does not have enough established to check them like he probably should. And it's going to be crazy, bro. It's just going to be crazy. And it's from top to bottom. It's going to be lunatic. It's going to be a lunatic. It's amazing. Now, it would be strange enough if it works, but I just don't see it. I just don't see them being able to blend it with the young talent and do what they need to do, and that's going to be wow. But you know, you laugh at it initially, but then you realize that they're out of control. They haven't started playing yet. That organization, that mindset of that organization is out of control.
I would have been more accepting if they were started him out to play, not the coach. Just bring him off the bench, tutor some of the big men, and just work it that way. But to coach, come on. He couldn't even get along with his players in New York. How are you going to coach? Ice, what's your question?
Yeah, my question is, earlier you mentioned before about the amount of money like the NBA has been losing this season, as far as like not having fans there. We also know baseball lost money. NFL been losing some money. And at one time, there were a couple sports that were like, you know what, we may not just have a season. Do you think they now are glad they have moved forward? Because to go whatever they're earning now, it's better than having nothing at all. Because having nothing at all, based on these short seasons, probably would have been a devastating blow to a lot of different franchises and then the sports in general.
Black?
Yeah, I think there are. Yeah, I think something is better than nothing. But I think for the NBA, and I know for the NFL, to be on television was the prime thing, to keep those TV contracts at hand. You don't want to give none of that money back or that money not to come to you. It's bad enough you're losing money from people not actually paying to be at the games. But when you start losing the TV contracts, and NFL is trying to play now for another future contract, you couldn't allow that to slip away, man. You just couldn't. So, yeah, I think when you toss it up, even right now with baseball, I mean, if you two don't say anything about the World Series, I don't really know what's going on. I'll be honest with you. I have no clue. But from a business standpoint, it's good that they're going through it. They're doing it. And you have to keep something present. You don't want to kind of walk away and don't have nothing and try to come back, because what are you coming back to? So from that perspective, yeah, I'm pretty sure they may not be happy with the money that they lost, but they didn't take a total loss.
I guess I'm kind of grimacing because I know one league, the basketball league, lost $1.5 billion. I mean, what did you gain? I mean, you lost that's a big loss with the NBA. So I'm wondering, what did they gain in that process? Did they pick up some money in other areas? Did what happened? Did they can they write that off? I don't know, but 1.5 billion. Maybe I'm the average guy, but that just seems like a big loss for a you know the organization or the association, the NBA. That how are you going to recover from that? I mean, that's a lot of money, but I don't know if it would have been greater. Maybe it would have been $3 billion. I don't know. But I would be interested in finding out, what did they gain in the process of just going ahead with this particular season.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that, but but zero though. Zero. I mean, the numbers are astronomical. Don't get me wrong. But zero. You had to play. And that's why I said I was really surprised about baseball taking so long and only playing 60 games. I mean, I think they were surprised by the way the World Series turned out. It was a very entertaining World Series. I think people are starting to watch it just because of the way that these two teams are going at it. But there was no guarantee that was going to happen. And even with the NBA and the bubble, I mean, granted, maybe not a lot of people watched, but those that did were excited about it because of the fact that there was some good basketball, particularly early on with some of the younger players. If it did nothing else, you can call it an asterisk season or whatever you want to, but to me, it actually showcased some of the younger players. Nobody was really talking about Michael Porter Jr. because he was hurt. Nobody really saw him. Now you saw him. You saw Murray. You saw Mitchell from Utah. You saw younger guys, LeVert that was playing for the Brooklyn Nets. A lot of new guys that really were getting their opportunity to showcase their skills because of the bubble. Some of the other guys, just like, yeah, they were doing whatever. You expected more, but I saw more night after night, these young guys putting it in, that to me was like, that might make other people want to watch as well.
Okay.
I'll say this real quick, man. I think the NBA in turn did a phenomenal job, the way, especially early on, where they stacked the games and gave you a lot of games to watch. But the NBA's in trouble, bro, because they've been losing viewership for a while, and I'm not totally sure why, but I think they're in trouble. I think even when they come back in December, January, whatever, I don't think a lot of folks are coming back, bro. I think part of the viewership is tired of seeing LeBron. They just are. They just tired of seeing LeBron. It's the same old thing every year. He's there. Either you love him or you hate him. And I'm not saying people necessarily hate him, but I think they're tired. And I think they're tired of just bad play. And the young cats, now the young cats they're really trying to appeal to, they got some other things going on. They're not really watching basketball. They're not, man. Not like we grew up watching basketball. So I think they're in trouble. NFL is a totally different breed. When it's on, you can put it on 7 nights a week, people want to watch. But the NBA is in trouble. And that's why I say earlier about Jeremy Lin. They're trying to find a way to get new people to watch and pay attention because they are losing viewership fast. Not slowly, fast. And even they do start to go back, this might be a while, but they start to go back, a lot of people to come in. I don't think a lot of those stadiums are going to be filled, bro. They weren't filled before the pandemic. A lot of them weren't. So they're in trouble. Whatever the reasons are, the NBA is in trouble.
All right, Black, got another question?
My next question is kind of a simple one in a sense. You know, we talked about the coach with the NFL, with the Dallas Cowboys coach. Outside of him, and let's avoid the Jets coach too, what's another coach that may not make it before the season's end and maybe get terminated?
Ice?
Oh, wow. I'm thinking Jacksonville. Yeah, I'm thinking Jacksonville. And I know that it's been back and forth and they played pretty decent, but I mean, after a while, you got to clean out some things, right? You got to clean out some things. We talked about Chicago before, but now the Foles is playing. I think that's totally a different. That is off the table. But if one team I probably would have to say would probably be right now, probably be Jacksonville.
Yeah, I was going to go with Jacksonville too, and I was going to go with the Detroit Lions coach, but they've been playing better football, um, as of late. So those were the two coaches that I was going to. I was trying to think of another team, but I can't really think of any other teams other than Jacksonville and the Detroit coach, because Detroit, for until the last couple of games, have been looking like the same old Detroit team that's, just insert a coach, and they just look the same. They just operate the same. But what's your thoughts, Black?
Yeah, I'm with the Jacksonville one. I think I said this last week, or might have said on the pick show. I thought the winner or the loser of the Jacksonville Chargers game might be in trouble. I think Chargers, I'm hoping Lynn has a little more time because that team is starting to play and they got a rookie quarterback. But Jacksonville, it's like every week you battle, and you lose. And I think they need to be shaken up a little bit. And it's sad that they lost some talent. I mean, I don't know what the owner was thinking when he brought in the ex-Giants coach and made him vice president and player personnel. That was a bad move. But I think they need to really shake some things up, go in a different direction with some of their VPs, their general managers, and kind of do some things different because that team just seems like it's just sputtering now for no reason at all.
I'll add another team and their quarterback, the Giants. Never sold on the quarterback, never sold on the coach and GM. Never sold on those guys.
I agree with you. I just don't think the Giants brass is shrewd enough and smart enough to understand that. I think they're going to wait around and see what the guy does next year. I mean, we all, everybody up here kind of thought when they, last year, when they got rid of the head coach, the general manager was going to. And they chose to hang on to the general manager. It says to me they have confidence in him. Why? I have no idea. But that team now, where it's constructed and put together, it's horrible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm the bona fide Giant fan I used to be, but I know none of these cats, bro. Name me one person on defense. I mean, I know none of them. They can't cover. They can't tackle. Where did he find these players, bro? What, he went to a foreign country and got guys playing off the street? It's ridiculous. You have no name players that can't do anything. So it's like, yeah, I agree, but I don't think it will happen.
Yeah. Ice, your last question?
Yeah, the question is, I saw something, actually was today, that the NCAA has laid down their sheets of infractions, and I guess whatever they came up with, the things that they're going to charge University of Arizona basketball team, men's basketball team with, the Chargers, and they have provided them with so many days to answer. So the question is, do you think thing's going to happen? I think they have like 60 days. We know that basketball season is going to be starting soon, but they have like 60 days to answer these charges.
What?
I saw a story on Sports Illustrated. I didn't read it because I didn't want to read it. It was a story in Sports Illustrated a couple of days ago. What happened to the big investigation with the FBI 2-3 years ago in the NCAA? And I always said, when you got the Kansas coach on tape talking, and he's still coaching. Come on, bro. What are we talking about? What are we talking about here? I mean, I'm sorry. You could almost have the guy on tape putting the money in the player's pocket. Still ain't not going to happen in NCAA, bro. It doesn't. Unless you are a low agent or something like that, they'll smack you on the head, and it's because it's too much money involved, bro. It's too much. I mean, it took all this time now for Arizona, 2 years later, to complete an investigation. You can give me the money. I'll do the investigation in a month and be done. A month. 2 years later, now you want to go smack them. Who gives you charges and then give you 14 days to say were you guilty or not? What type of nonsense is that?
I can't say much more than that. I don't think anything's going to happen.
No.
Even from the standpoint of sanctions, things of that sort, because they lost too much money last year, and they're trying to recruit. We just talked about how much the NBA lost, $1.5 billion. I can't imagine what college football, college basketball lost, the revenue they lost last year, and they're not trying to touch that. They're not trying to lose any more money, and they would if they do anything to tarnish the sport. So I don't expect anything to happen. Ice?
Yeah, I think they had to go through the motions because that's what they showed how they're supposed to do it the right way. But I mentioned to you before when Coach K came out, they asked him, "Did you think they would have a season this year, have a March Madness tournament?" And Coach K came out, who was really low key about most things because his situation is covered. He has nothing to really worry about. He's run USA basketball forever. But when he comes out and says, we cannot afford to not have a season. That let me know right then and there, come hell or high water, you got to play in 9 bubbles. That's what they're gonna do because he is not gonna be left out of March Madness anymore. They're gonna do whatever they have to do to have March Madness. So, yeah, Arizona. Like I try to tell y'all, but I ain't saying I told you so. But you do the math. It's too much cash, bruh. Too much cash. You're like, oh, they're gonna do the right thing, dude. Come on, man. It's all about them dollars and people flying and watching TV. You taking out work early and getting your chicken wings and secure reserving your seat at the nearby pub so you can get in there and get your game on it. Play your little fantasy bets and get your money and take home money from the office pool. Too much money, baby.
Wow. All right. Last second shot, Black.
Real quick, man, you were saying earlier about NFL, everybody losing money. Keep in mind, when you think about the NFL, when you do DraftKings, these other things, they're partly owned by NFL owners, bro. Kraft, some of the other players, which is against their own rules, still have their hand in it. So when you think they're losing money, they're finding other revenues, baby. They're finding other revenues. It's all about the money, baby. All about the money, man. And that's why the games are being played.
Ice?
Yeah, that's interesting. No, that's true. A lot of people don't know that, but they got to get their money no matter what. My last second shot is real quick. Halloween is coming up on the 31st or whatever. We had a great fight a couple weeks ago. We had Vasily Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. There's a great fight coming up this weekend. It is Leo Santa Cruz versus Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis, for those that don't know, is undefeated as well. And he's under the guidance of training with Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is really taking him under his wing and working with him throughout this training camp. But the thing is, this Leo Santa Cruz is a top-notch fighter. He's a 4-time champion. I just want to see what happens because Tank Davis has the power, the knockout, things like that. And then under tutelage of Mayweather versus seasoned guy that's not afraid of anybody. So I think it's going to be one hell of a fight. So you want to check out something that's worthwhile and you're a boxing fan, check this fight out.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Santa Cruz takes him into deep waters, will he be able to swim back?
Yeah,
that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. My last second shot is about the 50th anniversary of Ali Corey. Look it up on YouTube. That's why I'm wearing the hoodie today. The greatest that ever did it, Ali. Just do it. All right, we will be back on Wednesday for our pick show. I haven't mentioned the picks because I want to wait until tonight's game. But somebody did really well this week, and just when you thought I was gone, they pulled me right back in. We will see you on Wednesday in week 8 of the NFL picks. This is the Goon Squad. Take care. I have to admire them because once they found out, I mean, the brother was coaching.
Yes.
The Cardinals, and they were like, when he chose that quarterback, I don't even think he's in the league anymore, Rosen.
Yeah.
They found out, this is not working. They just yanked everything. Said, you know what? Nope, let's go.
It's funny you bring up Rosen. You're right. After a couple of years being a high draft pick, you can't even find him.
Yeah. I don't even know if he's in the league.